Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Well, good morning, Portugal. Welcome to my show. I have a special guest for you. Please welcome Carl Munson.
Good morning, everybody. Well, this is like being in a dream. I nearly said nightmare there. I mean, that would be my nightmare, of course, is somebody else doing my show while I'm tied up in the corner, which you didn't manage to do to me last night.
I didn't, actually.
Despite all those threats. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you.
And as it says, as you can see that live from Quinta dos Três Rios near Viseu, we have had the most beautiful afternoon and evening, haven't we, here? Thank you for suggesting this. I mean, how did this all begin? This is a road trip, isn't it? With an added visit to the Minola here, whose wine, we were on the wine club with Hugh last night, drinking this delightful wine for 2017. We tried some pork, we tried some aguardente, we had the most delicious dinner. A wonderful tour of the vineyard and the house yesterday. What an incredible place. How did we get to be here? It is like a dream.
It is a dream. It's unbelievable.
How did you first discover this wonderful place?
Well, there was three of us that ran bed and breakfasts in Portugal, and we just became friends. There was one near Sintra, myself near Ericeira, and here we are near Viseu.
Incredible. And you were somewhat of a Basil Fawlty in the B&B trade here in Portugal, right?
Yes.
People love staying. People have memories all over the world, I believe, of staying with you in Ericeira.
Yes, we did have people from all over the world, and one of the things we did was, because we had a sea view balcony, we used to take photographs of people when they left, before they left, to make a notes of things that they'd like to say about the place. And
your sort of visual guest book.
Yeah, it worked very well. There were occasional guests that, for some reason, that didn't want to have their partner in the photographs.
For some reason,
I can't work out why that was.
But their discretion, or your discretion, was assured on such matters.
But it was more of a hobby. It's not as professional as Hugh and Jane here.
Hugh and Jane are the most remarkable hosts. We'll talk to Hugh some more this morning at around 9. We've got Joao Do Norte joining us. Joao Ernesto will be with us at 9:30. And you're looking forward to talking to Hugh again. We are here in a valley, aren't we? If we describe the scene here, Colin, we're looking out through these. Well, we're in a huge drawing room, aren't we? The public room. Well, not the public room, where the guests gather here in front of this lovely big fire behind us, this open fire behind us that we were. Well, you were sat near the open fire last night drinking a nice Port Tonico. That was nice way to start.
I was well on my way.
Yes, and you were spotted on the wine club. They're like a Father Ted character taking it easy on the sofa there. And then we had dinner after that. We have had a complaint actually and I need to start broadcasting this out on Hugh's Facebook page. So I'll need to do that in just a moment. But we've got a complaint from Mr. Bleach about last night's wine club. Carl, can I give you a polite reminder? It's always a bit awkward when people say polite reminder, don't they, or polite notice. You know it's not going to be necessarily, or there's a lot of passive aggression in there. Can I give you a polite reminder to turn off the microphone when you leave the wine club to it? The meal sounded lovely, but we couldn't hear each other. Did we say anything about the wine club? Don't think we did. Pete's still speaking to us. Sorry about that wine club. Yes, they tried a lock-in, but I think they were getting a lot of feedback from their own hubbub coming through the microphone. But what a great session. Found out about Hugh's wine, and we'll find out more about the house and the wonderful opportunity here at Quinta dos Três Rios here near Viseu this morning. How are you this morning? Let us know in the chat. We've got an interesting day ahead of us as well. Coach Turner's here, as well as James this morning. Let's go through a few of these comments then, shall we, Colin? Bom dia, campus. Feliz terça a todos. Como estão? Como estão, Senor Colin?
Yeah.
Goodbye. Yeah. Mindful moment from James then. All your power resides in the now. Mindfulness is the best tool to tap you into that power. What is your best tool, Colin? That was Anita M. Scott, by the way. What is your best tool for achieving happiness and well-being, would you say? I think I know the answer to this.
No. Life is like a book. You write your own story.
Yeah. I was going to say humour, though. Humour's your access to well-being and health, isn't it?
I think so. I like my humour, obviously, but not everybody does.
Not everyone's a big fan. You can see on our YouTube channel a segment from Colin's recent European tour, and some of them I call it new material. Some of it's actually quite old, isn't it?
Yeah.
But presented in a new way in a ski lodge. And the audience weren't as receptive and delighted as you'd hoped, I think. What do you think's going on in humour at the moment?
No. Well, the problem is you can't in any jokes these days be racist. You can't be
racist. Well, that's not a bad thing, is it?
Well, it is if you've got to start a pistol. It's a race, isn't it?
That was your race joke, wasn't it? Involving a starter pistol. It was race related. Dear, oh dear. Okay, you touched a few nerves, didn't you? And would you say people are a little bit too prickly, possibly, and a little bit too ready to be upset and offended by things?
Yeah, people should get a life.
Throwing down the gauntlet. That's pretty direct, isn't it? There they are. And I'm guessing when people are offended by your style of humour, and your response to that isn't necessarily to put an arm around them and say, "Come on, there," and it's only a joke. It's like, get a life. Does that go down well with people?
Not really. No.
Funnily enough. Okay. Any other highlights from the tour that you want to share? Was there the lorry overturned full of snooker supplies? Is that right as well?
Yes, and the police said there were queues in both directions.
You see, that's what you missed from the European tour. If anything else comes to mind, let us know. Okay, and you are available, aren't you, for bookings as well?
No.
Why not? No. What happened?
Well, you can only die on stage once.
We could call it the Resurrection Tour, couldn't we? The Resurrection Tour, the second coming. Chance to be a fine thing.
Yeah,
mindful dad joke. Someone recently told me I was delusional. I almost fell off my unicorn. Thank you very much, James, for that. And here he is, man of the moment, who we're seeing later on. Bon dia todos. Looking forward to meeting up with Carl and Colin later. Oh, that's us. for a little driving entertainment. All this chuckling is shaking the table. Is that you shaking the table? That's our chuckling, isn't it? Coming from deep within. For a little driving entertainment in the Serra da Estrela. The views from our hotel over Covilhã are spectacular. So tell us a bit more about that, if you will. And Coach Turner, we do have a God Squad tip of the day coming from you as well, which is fabulous. I hope everything's sounding okay. We are using our outside broadcast facility, who helped us get all of this together. And I think it's a great setup. We just need to know, I need your executive production insight, anyone who's watching this morning. Is it sounding okay? We have the sun coming in through these double windows in front of us. Isn't this the most beautiful view across the valley here, Colin?
Oh, unbelievable.
And we'll be driving in a similarly picturesque situation. So can you tell us what have you got? You are an amazing organizer of experiences and fun things to do. What have you got lined up for us today? And nice and close to the mic, if you will.
Well, at the end of the day, with these Estrellas, to get up there, you have wonderful windy roads, and they might not be everybody's cup of tea, but when you have the right car, and you drive them sensibly, it's just a wonderful experience.
Yes,
something that you need to do. You can either be on a straight motorway with no other cars around, or you can be on these twisty, windy roads with hopefully no cars around. I know which I prefer.
With a motor that hugs the road and gives you a real driving experience.
Which will soon be for sale.
Nicely done. the GR Yaris collector's edition,
Collectors edition.
as driven by top racing driver Colin Ross-Jones.
No, as driven by an old 73-year-old, never raced, never rallied, beautifully looked after.
Sounds like a dating.
Unlike me.
It sounds like a dating profile now. Never raced, never rallied, in good condition. Right, excellent. We'll look forward to seeing you a bit later then, Coach Turner. And we've got so much beautiful footage to share after this couple of days away. Fantastic road trip. So thanks again, Colin, for organising. God's Good Tip of the Day. I don't know, we might even try these live on air this morning here with Colin. Another walking drill to help improve your running technique. And of course, you're a top athlete. Still, pickleball, yoga, you like to keep your hand in. I don't know if that's a yoga move, is it? What kind of yoga is that?
Why do you think the table was shaking?
Right. Another walking drill to help improve your running technique and warm your muscles up. That sounds like a good start, doesn't it? Bring your knee up so that your thigh is horizontal and your calf vertical. I think we can have a little go at that. Ensure your toes are pointing upward. This is looking like ballet now, right? And then step forward and repeat. No, let's not do that. No. Repeat on the other leg. Use your arms to help balance opposite to the movement of your legs. It is looking like ballet, isn't it? Nureyev. Vibes of Nureyev.
Sounds like Ian had too much sleep.
It does it a bit, doesn't it? If you can, rise up on the ball of your foot. It's motivational as well. Rise up on the balls of your feet. As your knee reaches full height, walk for about 30 meters. This is known as an A-walk and can develop into a skip as you build confidence. And walk tall. I can see you doing that. And Foz de Relio or Obidos walking like that. The A-walk. There's Colin doing his A-walk through Obidos village, cutting a dash as ever. Deagle's in. Bon dia from Deagle to Carl and the Gumpers from a little dull Belfast, but it's a little dull over in Belfast. 12 degrees. I think the sun in bed around 8 hours sunshine yesterday. So he's allowed a line over there, and that's the sun in Belfast. It will easily hit 16 degrees today, and we're looking at what possibly hitting 30 in central Portugal. Do you think today? It's going to be a hot one, isn't it? Looking out that window this morning. And as I say, I keep sorry to keep referring to a vision. A visual you can't see at the moment, but I will make a video of the walk through the garden here of this beautiful place. Only problem, says Deagle, with nice weather, Minister of Home Affairs has a big list of jobs she wants him to do. Yeah. Well, good luck with that list. Bon dia Gumpers from Jackie, the humble crafter, fellow Welsh person there, Colin. Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Who's on the canals in the UK at the moment. Bon dia Portugal. So we've got a canal boat for sale and a Toyota GR Yaris for sale as well. It's turning into like a Saturday swap shop. Bon dia Portugal from Joao Ernesto. He's joining us at 9:30 this morning, talking about life in northern Portugal. I imagine we'll talk about what John and Pam have got planned next as a trip away. They've gone on the most amazing trips, and John has detailed those for us previously here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Most recently at the equestrian fair in Ponte De Lima as well. Have you been to Ponte De Lima, Colin?
I have. I thought it was a fantastic
Beautiful little place, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. And our Portugal class in Belfast meeting up Monday for coffee. We will try speaking in Portuguese. I'm not sure how it will work out. Can we have a recording of that? We would love to hear the recording of the Portuguese, the Belfast Portuguese group. Bon dia, Ernie, from Peter. Sorry about last night, Pete. It was going so well, wasn't it, until I left the mic on. And all you could hear is the distant clattering of dinner plates, I suspect, which made it impossible for you to have a lock-in. So apologies to the Wine Club ninjas. But a great evening. People choosing wines that reflected themselves. Gary Austin choosing the Fat Baron.
Well, yes, I thought he was hard on himself there.
He was a little bit, wasn't he? And you get to a certain age where self-esteem is important, isn't it? To think good thoughts about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially online.
Especially if no one else does.
Especially online.
Bon dia, Pam. Good morning to you, Pam Smith. At this rate, says James, any allowable joke will look like a man walks into a bar. A moment's reflection there for humor past and gone. R.I.P. humor. I don't think it's that bad. Actually,
I have one of those. Man walks into a bar.
Go on.
Man walks into a bar and
Yes.
he slips on some dog muck, picks himself up,
Yeah.
goes and orders himself a pint, sits down. This other big bloke walks in, does exactly the same, picks himself up, and this guy said, "I just did that." And he went,
Bang! My dad used to tell that joke.
exactly.
A bit of an echo. Okay. I don't know what we can do about it. We haven't actually got any reverb switched on, but is it? I think it's going to have to be permissible. I have to roll with that, I'm afraid. I'll turn the mics down a tad. Perhaps that will help. We'll see. Thank you, though, James, for that. Bon dia from Michael Barton in Miranda de Corvo this morning. It sounds like, I think I do. I know what that is. Let's see if we can. It's the yes. Let's use the proper mics, shall we? That could help. Let me. One, two. Once, there we go. That's better, I think, now.
That works for me as well.
Yeah, okay, that's come back, and I think, look at that. Isn't everybody great how they're helping us out here? No sound now, nope, silent sound, no volume at all now. I think that should be better. Yay! Thank you, Owen. Thanks so much for that. Okay.
Yes, the Bentley Bentayga is a
Bentley.
Yes, it's their SUV.
A Bentley SUV. Now, I would have thought Bentley fans, when they heard that Bentley were creating an SUV, why? Why would you do that?
That's a question that I suppose you think to yourself, Bentley, they won Le Mans, and would they make an SUV? But
yes,
it's their best-selling car.
Seriously?
So, yeah.
So the people who are brave enough to do that and suggest it at Bentley have breathed a sigh of relief and have been vindicated.
I mean, it's just a brick with some curves in
and a laptop panel at the front. Is it following that sort of?
No, it's not electronic.
Okay.
It's not electric yet.
Yes, right.
But they are bringing electric, as Rolls-Royce have just done. They brought their first electric car.
Have they really?
Yeah.
Wow. Again, controversial.
And again, Rolls-Royce have got the Cullen, which is their SUV.
Okay.
So they were all doing
Rolls making an SUV.
As have Aston Martin with the DBX.
Who was first to do it then of the top brands?
I think it was close between Bentley and Rolls-Royce.
Okay.
The first to do it was Porsche, obviously, but
yeah. Yes,
Porsche
interesting.
many years ago, and then again they became their best-selling cars.
Wow. Okay.
Just unbelievable. Why would people want to sit high and go around corners?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So Dougie, very good. What a great experience. The latest Bentayga then. Is that what it is? It Bentayga? All the way from Algarve to the Ronda. Via Andalusia, is that to the Ronda? I think in Wales.
South
there,
Wales.
Very good. I'm glad you liked my car photos yesterday. We did, and Colin managed to recognise pretty much all of them, didn't you? Just from little snippets of cars.
Yeah.
They were so that was the new hotel in the monastery there. What a fabulous place that is. The Ronda there, not Ronda. Typo Ronda, not Ronda. I'm confused now. Yeah, I think we're back again now. My goodness, this is you had it right before. Why did you go and mess about with it? I think we're okay. Let me just a quick check again on that audio. We've gone back to that situation there. What? Honestly, okay. Well, I think that'll be it, and I will stop messing about now. Back. Thank you very much, Global Nobles. Speaking of cars, do you plan to see the Cybertruck? There was an article in the Portugal News about it being on display. It's not allowed in this country, is it? The Cybertruck?
I don't know about that, but I did read this morning that somebody who's just had one, is moaning about it's already rusty.
Right. Okay. Right. So it's getting to the future even faster. You could argue, couldn't you? Do you think you're going to the electric car show in Lisbon? Tell us about that, Colin.
Yeah. Well, each year they've had an electric car show down in Lisbon in May. It started off, it was a small hall, and now it's grown into 2 big halls in the Expo Centre.
Altis Arena, isn't it?
Yeah,
the Altis. Yeah.
And you can test drive whatever car you want. You just go up to the
seriously,
you go up to the stand and put your name down, and off you go test driving with the people. Some of the people we actually met for the Renault.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When we tried the Renault Scenic and Rafale, which is a nice surprise.
And there's no pressure, as is the case in Portugal. People don't put pressure on you to buy.
Yes. Yeah. How lovely. So a chance to try electric vehicles. Would you recommend that to people? You know, these confirmed petrol heads, over my dead body kind of people.
Well,
is it? I mean, you managed to straddle both camps, if you don't mind me saying so.
Yes, I've driven nearly every electric car that was currently available in Portugal.
Yeah.
Plus some that aren't. Actually, I went to an electric car show in Amsterdam and drove cars that aren't brought into Portugal, but the experience is a very exciting experience, because it's like, I think, the first time that many of the petrol people would have driven a diesel, they were quite amazed at the torque, and how instant that was. Well, it's nothing compared with electric car.
Another level.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. But there's no noise. There's no, when you're a petrol head, you listen to your engine.
Yes.
I never put my radio on. I'm always listening to the car.
Are you? That's so nice.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Even though mine has
that's the music
sound.
The music to you is the sound of the engine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was what I loved about working for Alfa Romeo, because you could listen to these V6 engines.
Yeah.
Just roaring away, and it was beautiful.
Wow. And that's something, unless they synthesize it, that's something that's going to go, isn't it?
They're going to have to. Well, not necessarily, because now they've brought hydrogen engines are being tested quite well. They've already got them in JCBs, but obviously we're not going to drive JCBs on the road.
Hold on a minute. The hydrogen engine is now in service inside construction vehicles.
Yes.
Right, I didn't know that.
And Toyota, for instance, have put one in a race car, in a GR Yaris, and it produces 300 brake horsepower.
And it makes the sound of an internal combustion engine.
It's the proper sound, yeah.
Wow, okay.
But of course, all it's pushing out is water.
Right, okay, very interesting. Antonio F is here, Sarah Yeoman is here. How's Steve doing? Sarah, do let us know. We are coming to you live from Quinta dos Três Rios. We'll have Hugh with us in about 5 minutes. We'll have Joao Do Norte joining us, a little update from the north. Antonio Barbosa on tour, cannot join us this morning. And sometimes we speak to Bruce Hawker from the Portugal resident. He's also going to fit us in next week. He's a little bit too busy to join us this week, but he says he'll join us next week. We'll have a little view at what's going on at the Portugal resident. That show in the Netherlands was rather infamous, says Pete, the electric show you went to, due to all the diesel generators. Hydrogen is a joke, says Pete, or ask my friends in Wiesbaden, where the storage tank exploding. Teething troubles, mere teething troubles, presumably.
Yeah, there's lots of research going into green ways of producing hydrogen, and as soon as they've done that and made it at source, then we're away.
People have said this about electric, though, as well, haven't they, Pete? Yeah. To be fair, it's a joke until it's not funny anymore. A bit like some of Colin's material, some might say. Okay. Fancy this, Colin and I, two Welsh car buffs. What do you think that's about? Is that from the driving through the valleys and the youth, your youthful experiences of proper cars back in the day, love affairs that you've never managed to free yourself from with vehicles?
I think it was down to my father being into his cars, and actually his father was one of the first chauffeurs. I mean, he was an interesting guy. He owned a garage and all sorts, but
an early adopter of automotive technology.
There's a photograph of him being a chauffeur to the local wealthy guy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And the Pete's comment's interesting, isn't it? Hydrogen is a joke, but when people were still running around on horses and carts, they would have said, "Oh, those newfangled cars are a joke. They'll never catch on." Well, and now look at us.
Exactly, but I mean, the problem was when they first came out, they did electric cars then. And
that's cars. Some of the first cars were electric, weren't they?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
And of course, we are, only just adapting them.
Yes.
So we're very slow to change, aren't we?
We are to see again a reference to your joke book to see the Cybertruck live for the first time in Portugal. Go to the Tesla Centre in Porto on May the 11th. There you go. There's your chance to see the Cybertruck in Portugal, and also in Lisbon on the 15th and 16th of May. Thanks, Squire. Morning to you, Squire. Thanks for being here. That's good.
It'll obviously be at that show because that show starts on the 16th, going through to the 18th.
So you'll see that. We want a selfie of you with the Cybertruck, if that's all right.
Oof.
Well,
okay. It's just an ugly looking thing, isn't it?
Right. Okay. Can we be the judge of that?
Yes,
do a selfie and send. That'd be fantastic to get that from you. Steve is doing a bunch better. That's great to hear, Sarah. All the bruises that happened when he fell off the bike are healing. The bone should be back together in a month or so. Wow. The rest is Coach Turner territory. A bit of physio after that. So lots of love to Steve. There were a total of 21 hydrogen cars sold in Europe last year. It is 2/3 as hard to store as nuclear. Total distraction from electric by the fossil fuel industry, says Peter. Are you going to go there, or are we going to stay away from that? Are we going to neatly step aside?
We've got a minute before Hugh's.
All right, so let's
more important.
Okay, Pete. Let's play Coach Turner's latest video. I believe we've got that, and that'll bring us nicely towards having Hugh join me by the side of me here. I'll say that I've got it somewhere here. I think quick access, it says on the screen, but that's not turning out to be true just yet. Here we go. I believe this is our latest video from Coach Turner, and that's what we'll be doing later. We'll see Coach Turner soon, and we'll be filming some more road trip action with Coach Turner, and after this we'll have a chat with Hugh from Quinta dos Três Rios here near Viseu. Okay, I'm just putting this video up online now from the coach. Here it is. We'll see you in about a minute and a half on the other side of this. Thank you for being with us so far this morning on the Good Morning Portugal show, live from near Viseu in the glorious Portuguese countryside. Thank you so much, Coach. Absolutely wonderful. We got Hugh with us, and I'll make sure this goes up on your YouTube channel once we start talking. Hugh, thank you so much for a beautiful, well, for having us here in the first place. Great to be here, waking up in the glorious Portuguese countryside, looking at this view that we can see from where we're sat at the moment. And I'll make sure we get some of this video up online on our YouTube channel. You were looking at Coach Turner's video there at the Portuguese coastline, I think in the Algarve, saying how beautiful it is. You live in Portuguese heaven here, don't you?
We do. The green, the water, the beautiful air. It's just passion heaven.
Yes.
Lovely.
And you've been here 20 years, I believe, on this site, and you've done something that I think a lot of people just dream of doing, which is to find somewhere. It was a ruin, let's face it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Find a ruin in Portugal, do it up, and create a self-sufficient, off-grid dream life. That's pretty much what you've done here, isn't it?
Pretty well. I mean, the vegetables, the fruits, the asparagus. You had some asparagus last night.
I so did. Yes.
You know, it's a great life, and you're just out of the village. It's very relaxed, and you can't ask for any more. Just chill out life.
It is amazing. It is amazing what you've created here. We've got our producers coming in, giving us production notes, haven't we? Colin has just popped in there. We talked about your wine, of course, that you also produce on the site here. But I'd love to know more about, if people want to know more about the wine, which is this delightful label here with the oak leaves on there, the Minola. You can watch our wine club episode from last night where Hugh was telling us a story of how the wine's created. And I've got another video to come from our trip through the vineyard and around the grounds yesterday. But it'd be lovely to know more about the house this morning and the wonderful story of the house and how you came to be here from the UK. Originally in the UK, you were smoking fish, chicken. You were a smoker, weren't you? A smoker of exquisite foods. Yeah. So can you tell us about that? How the turnaround came from being in the UK to being in Portugal?
Yeah, we were smoking foods for 20 years, and then just decided that enough was enough. We wanted to chill out, and some friends of ours sent us some info about this house, and we came out on a cheap flight. Stayed a night with them, popped over to this house, which was basically a ruin. The water was coming through the ceilings, and
that's so hard to imagine now.
Yeah, and we managed to force a window open, got inside, and we spent a couple of days. There was nobody about, and met the owner on the Monday and shook hands and bought the property. Never looked at another place in Portugal. Never been to Portugal,
right?
And
hold on a minute. So you've never been here. You didn't look at any other properties.
No.
You saw this one and fell in love with it. You just knew this was the place for you.
It was in the heart.
You and Jane, yeah. You and Jane, of course. Okay.
So we then spent the next 18 months restoring it, keeping all the original features that we could, and then we started on the land. There was a tremendous recovery job on the land. Hadn't been looked after for many years. In fact, the last people who lived in it was 1985, and we found it in 2004.
So you wouldn't expect much to be in good order after all that time, and things to be rotten. But this house is so well made. That's the sense I get, that the house is so well made in the first place that a lot of the wood and timber used was still in good order despite dilapidation of nearly 20 years.
I mean, the walls are nearly 3/4 of a meter thick. Beautiful granite.
Yes.
And absolutely amazing.
What did you do then? What lay ahead of you in terms of? I mean, you've got your big-hearted, big appetite, incredible people, heart grafters, right? You've done a lot of work here, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, we've made it into a family home.
Yeah.
Where we have guests come and see us from all over the world.
Right.
And they come as guests and they leave as friends.
Yes.
And we just feel that we've now spent 19 years actually.
Sorry, forgive me, but we will talk while we're seeing the video of what you've achieved here, which actually it's unfortunate because it doesn't show how much work's gone on here. But if you can maybe tell us that with words. So sorry, people come as guests and leave as friends. You were saying,
yeah, quite emotionally sometimes.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
So we had to kind of re-roof it. We had to rewire it. There was no water, no electrics, no sewage. So the whole thing was a kind of a rebuild.
That door there, for example, that we just saw. Let me just rewind that a little bit.
That's the original from 1865.
That the original front door of 1865. So clearly made of very good materials.
Yeah, it's made of oak and chestnut.
Really?
Yeah.
And you managed to save and renovate that.
Yeah.
And the granite. These are these great thick walls that you speak of as well.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It was built by an Englishman in 1865, who also built the textile factory, which is nearby. Which
people will see in the video I make after the walk around the grounds yesterday. So tell us more about that. How did an Englishman end up in the middle of nowhere, really? I mean, we are right in the countryside here. They needed a river to power the mill. So that's the giveaway, isn't it, of why they ended up here. But how did an Englishman find this place in 1865?
There was some relationship with a famous poet and the author and an MP, Tomás Ribeiro, who was born in the village, and his relationship allowed the land to be developed, and they built this mill using the wool from the Estrella Mountains, which is the most fantastic wool.
Yes,
and they made tartan and tweed and all sorts of kind of material, and then went on to put ultimately a steam boiler in later on in the 60s, where they started making felt and other materials, and other, it's tremendous production. Unfortunately, it caught fire in the early 70s, and that was it. It's been a ruin since.
Incredible. We've a fan of yours here, Willy Korn, is here. Hugh is a hero. He gets 30 hours work in a 24-hour day. How do you do that, Hugh? People will want to know how that's done.
I think I don't regard working around this property as work. It's a holiday. In fact, going on holiday can be work. So it's just a natural thing to go and wander through the vineyards, push a few vines in, down to the veg garden, plant some asparagus or plant the beans. We ate
yesterday, yes.
Feed the geese. It's just a natural thing to me. And
a labour of love, is that right?
Yeah, but it's not onerous because it's a pleasure all the time out in the sunshine. We've got sunshine, But now we've been here for this period of time. We're thinking really we want to downsize, do a few different things. We want to travel the world a bit more. In fact, Willy, who is on there, he's going to help us by taking us around Botswana.
Is that right?
See the elephants, which my wife Janie has an absolute passion for.
Hold on a minute. So is Willy joining us from Botswana this morning?
He's joining us from South Africa.
Incredible. All right. Good morning to you, Willy. So tell us more about what you do, Willy. I've definitely put your link to what you do, if you will, in the chat. Other people may be excited to know about that. Yeah. So there is a change afoot for you. You've done all this wonderful work here, and you fancy a little bit more of a quieter life, possibly, and some different horizons.
And see a lot of the guests who've actually visited, who've invited us in our visitors, but come and see us, and that's what we want to do.
Just like Bobby O'Reilly, then, you're the sort of people, if someone says to you, you must drop in and see us if you're in X, Y, or Z, you're going to do that.
We're actually going to take them up on it.
Excellent. Good for you. Yeah. Excellent. So what other highlights are you thinking of around the world then? Botswana, safari, what else have you got planned?
We've got great friends in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So we want to spend about 2 or 3 months down there.
Yes.
Some in Australia. And we also want to spend time in Europe, in Portugal. We want to travel Portugal and really understand all the different parts, because we've been quite involved with the project here.
Yes.
And now we need to broaden our outlook from here and go out into the world effectively. And that's what we want to do.
How incredible! You're not letting the grass grow under your feet.
No.
For sure. So this place is for sale.
It is for sale.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and you can find us on Pure Portugal.
Yes.
There's a nice little note all about there, and also on Sotheby's at Porto.
Okay.
They've got a helping us on that. So we'd love people to come and have a look and see what this house can give. For us, we believe that a young couple coming in here with maybe grandparents who want to be looked after in a lovely environment.
Yeah,
it's a great opportunity. we've had people looking for doing all sorts of rural projects with it. So, you know, it's just a beautiful kind of 12-acre plot, lovely river, the River Pavia. In fact, we were catching crayfish yesterday.
By the way,
beautiful crayfish.
are you going to be smoking those?
I know, but we'll cook them and pan fry them with some olive oil and butter.
In your own river at the bottom of the garden?
Absolutely.
Now,
our river beaches. You see,
yes.
we've got a lovely river beach there, and in the summer, it's absolutely divine. You can swim. The kids love it. The grandchildren love it.
I bet. Actually, I wouldn't want to leave here. And that's that must be a little sort of bittersweet for you. And the wonderful thing is you've done all the hard work for the next people, haven't you? Here, I think.
Yes, I think that but there's ongoing projects that can be developed here.
Yeah.
I mean, the house could easily be developed into an exclusive elderly people, half a dozen, maybe 4 couples who want to have a chilled out life, who want to be long term. Invest in the project.
Yes. Yeah.
Enjoy your own food.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you can make in the gardens.
Which this country and this part of the country, this lifestyle that's been preserved here in Portugal, for some reason or other, that dream, that possibility is alive and well, and you've prepared an environment in which people could do that.
You could.
Right here.
I mean, if you've got a couple of ponies, if you've got some, you could have a couple of sheep, you can have your pig, you can do your whole
turnkey self-sufficiency luxury off-grid, basically. I think is what you're talking about, with vineyard.
Yeah, with a bit of wine and the olive oil. I mean, we've got some amazing olive oil that we produce from our 140 olive trees.
Yes.
And, you know, making your own oil, there's something emotional about having really beautiful olive oil where you know it's created.
Yeah, the provenance, absolutely. Well, what an incredible opportunity then for the next people who may make this their home. Which is minola.co.uk. You can see the video I've been playing at the site there and find out more about what goes on here. Vili, your friend who you'll be seeing in Botswana, safari guiding in Big Five country. Come and experience the African wild. That's with Vili. Good to meet you. Muito prazer, Vili. James says, I've warned people, don't invite me if you don't mean it. I think you're the same, right? You're taking people.
Absolutely.
And another friend of yours, Hugh, this morning, a few years ago, says, Latia, we lived and worked with Hugh and Jane on the Quinta for about 6 months while our daughter went to the village school. What a lovely memory made here, by the sound of it, from Latia. It is hard to find a more beautiful place in the world or a more amazing and inspirational couple than Hugh and Jane, and their wine is superb. Hi, guys, from Michael and Adalis. And that's other people have experienced this place because you offer workaway, your workaway host as well, aren't you? Is that part of how the whole formula works of running a place as big as this?
Yes, I mean, you know, we get people who come in and spend 2-3 weeks with us. We teach them some life skills. In return, they help us on the land. We teach them how to drive a tractor.
Yes,
we teach them how to trim and cut the grasses a bit, and to taste wine. How to taste wine.
Yes.
There is a slight problem with the workaways. They tend to not spit it out when they're supposed to.
Yes, come on, workaways. Yes,
But and then in the September, there's a bit of harvest time. That's great fun. Families and kids here.
How lovely. And foot treading of wine as well. That's an experience that happens in this locality.
Open lagar, and they tread the wine with their feet, and it's very traditional, minimal chemical contents, just a little bit of sulfur, just to help preserve the wines, and it's great. It's great fun.
How amazing! So tell me more then, if you will, for people looking at this country and this lifestyle, if you like. The producer's back in. Look at that! He's giving you chiropractic.
Oh, right, I'm looking at you too much.
We're trying to talk to each other, aren't we? Rather than talk to the microphones. If I move that this way a bit for you, that could help you, couldn't it? There
okay.
I mean, it's still possible, isn't it? This dream life. Oh, we've lost. We something cut out there. I think.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, the producer came in and nearly killed the show there.
Yeah.
Just stay out of here, Colin.
Yeah.
This dream life, this self-sufficiency, off-grid life. Did you always dream of that? Because I want to talk to you about how that's still possible here in Portugal. A lot of people seem to have that on their radar now, don't they? Something going on in the world where people are thinking, no, this proposed modern way of life is not for me. I fancy something a little bit more old-fashioned, rustic, off-grid. Tell us about your experience of that, if you will, and your motivation.
Yeah, I think the real thing is that you want to be holistic. You want to actually enjoy the environment, which means that really you don't want to be fully connected to the outside world. You want to look inwards to all the beauty that's in this environment here.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have beautiful air. We've got lichin growing on all of the trees. Now that's a major indicator to how much superb air quality we have here. There's nothing between us and the Sargasso Sea in real terms on a southwest wind. That'll put a thought to you.
Yes.
So
I'm still processing that.
Yeah. And the river, the water, we've got beautiful spring water which feeds this house. We process all our own sewage, and we can generate our own power if we need. We have a river which has a huge energy resource, which used to
power the mill. Yeah. Which you were telling me yesterday the history of the place. Over 100 people worked at that mill.
More than
from the local villages.
Yeah, about 150 from the 2 local villages.
Yeah.
So
fed by the
River Pavia.
The power came from the River Pavia. There was a beautiful bread oven in your garden I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
That was feeding the workers as well.
Yeah, because lunchtime they fed all the workers, and
Yeah.
there was a little cafe. They had their own in-house cafe across the road.
Yes.
And now in that bread oven we've got a little smokehouse, so we smoke a few little things here.
I saw that as well. That's so superb.
We just made some lovely bacon, really good bacon.
Well, you're smoking your own bacon.
Oh,
fantastic.
absolutely.
This is the 30 hours in 24 hours thing. That's what you should run courses on here, Hugh, is how to do all of this. And on that note, this rural idyll, this way of life, the good life, it's not for the faint-hearted. You do have to work hard, but it's work that is fulfilling and enriching rather than being stuck in a cubicle. And a lot of people are working their guts out in the world at the moment, aren't they? Kind of feeling like they're not getting anywhere. But each investment of your time here is producing these beautiful results of produce and things you can actually enjoy intrinsically.
Yeah, I think if you think it's work, then you're not in the right job. For us, working here is like the holiday.
Yes.
It is just the pleasure every morning. It's not having to drive 2 hours to work, sitting in a traffic jam. Here, we just roll out of bed, down, maybe feed the geese, go up to have a walk through the vines, see how they're looking, down to the veg garden, plant some beans. It's just so relaxing.
Yeah.
Your blood pressure's at a low level. You can chill.
Yeah.
This is what's important. But we now appreciate that what we've done here, we need to allow ourselves to do some more traveling. It means
fair enough.
We need to send this off with great passion to the next couple or people who want to come and join us.
What a gift. What a gift you've created for the next stewards of this, because that's what it will be, isn't it? They will be stewarding this experience to the next level, I think.
I mean, this house is built for centuries.
Yeah.
It's not going to disappear.
No.
It's the massive granite. It's got a beautiful terraces. It's got just the whole environment. You can run your chicken tractor, keep your chickens, keep your ducks.
Yes.
It's got its little ponds. It's just a chill out life.
Yeah. And can we speak more generally then about this? You mentioned Pure Portugal. Love Pure Portugal. If not for Pure Portugal, I wouldn't be here, I don't think, in Portugal. They embody, convey a certain ideal and a way of life here in Portugal that I'd like to talk about with you. And we've had some interesting conversations in the last, not even 24 hours. We only arrived yesterday afternoon, but we had some amazing conversations about the way the world is headed and the possible futures. There is this possible future here in Portugal of rural life, isn't there? And prolonging something that's very valuable and human-centered and human-scaled compared to some of the other visions that may be available to humanity. How do you rate Portugal's future in that way? Do you think that way of life here in rural Portugal, the good life, is still possible for people? I mean, people were looking at your experience and thinking, oh, well, that's all very well and good for Hugh and Jane. They got into it 20 years ago. It's still doable here, isn't it? You can still find yourself a ruin and do it up.
Absolutely. Without doubt. In fact, our couple of workaway here are doing just that. They're looking for a place. there is tremendous opportunities to take some substantially old granite buildings, which are in disrepair, but put a little love and attention into it, and some local people with local knowledge.
Yeah.
That there are still genuine good old stonemasons.
Yeah.
And you can make what looks like a real ruin into a super house, and you can generate your own love and passion into it, and then produce some amazing foods.
Yeah.
You can you got your water, which is so valuable up here.
Yes.
Lots of water. This year, more water than normal, but it's been.
But your own water source, your own food, your own water source, the clean air you've spoken of, that's still possible. And this part of the country, now in the last 20 years, I was talking to Colin about this yesterday on the journey over here. There's been something's happened, an exponential growth in the interest in Portugal, awareness about Portugal, probably in the last 5 years or so. The pandemic effect, of course, where people just thought, okay, enough, I'm going to go to. There were a lot of people who just decided to come here in that time. Yeah. And people know Lisbon, of course, and Porto and the Algarve and the Silver Coast to some extent, and the central Portugal self-sufficiency vibe. That's I think fairly well known among a lot of Europeans. But Viseu, this particular area, tell us more about this. Well, I think it's a bit of a well-hidden secret.
Yeah, I mean, Viseu is an amazing city. It's got a fantastic cathedral up on high, and there's a lot of tradition there. Yeah, but it's now getting a tremendous reputation for food, the gastronomic side and the wine side. There are all sorts of wine and food events within the city and around the city. The headquarters of the DAO is in, the DAO.
The DAO, the DOC, the denomination.
In Viseu.
Yeah.
And it's a cosmopolitan city with tremendous medical hospitals and all that very nearby. But where we're sitting right now, you'd never know there was a city literally.
The throbbing metropolis is not far away if you need it.
18 minutes and you're in the center of Viseu,
And still away, as you drive out of the city, you can have experiences like this of absolute sort of rural paradise.
Yeah. Lots of oak trees, tremendous amount of oaks.
Well, I was noticing this about your canopy. That's a criticism sometimes, isn't it, of Portugal, is that the plantations of eucalyptus especially and pine for the paper industry. We're not seeing that out of this window, are we?
No, very few pines now, mainly hardwood trees, oak, chestnuts, a few mimosas creeping here and there, but in general, we've got just lovely oaks and olive trees, which are
and willows swaying gently in the wind.
Yes,
I think I can see the tops of the willows.
Yeah. Big willows, yeah.
Who doesn't like a big willow first thing in the morning? Right, let's go to Pete and a few of the comments that we're seeing here. And if you've got any questions for Hugh and Jane here, mainly Hugh, who's on screen, of course, with me here, but this is all about Hugh and Jane here at Quinta dos Três Rios, the farm of the three rivers. And I've seen one of your listings. I think it's for bookings for the B&B, and it talks about a farm experience. It's so much more than that, isn't it, Hugh? I mean, it's hard to, I think, encapsulate what you do, the breadth of the experience available here. It's a lot more than a farm experience, isn't it?
It is, because we try and teach people on wines and on foods.
Yes,
it's all home cooking, it's
a taste of a way of life, I can tell you.
Absolutely.
We thought we saw that Quinta for sale, says Pete. You have some great ideas. We should definitely get some workaways, says Pete for himself. Not sure if I would always trust them on my beautiful little tractor. What do you think? Has he got to trust?
I think you need to assess and then decide.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point. It is beautiful spring water in that area. Pam agreeing with you about the quality of the water. We visited Viseu on our way to São Pedro do Sul a few years ago. Thank you, Pam, for being here in that comment. João Ernesto, who'll be joining us in a few minutes, might like to have a quick chat with you as well this morning as you cross over this morning on the Good Morning Portugal show. I remember saying things like that back in the 80s and 90s. Now is often the best time to act. Yeah, let's get off the grid. Let's go for it. Let's make our dreams happen. I think that's what João Ernesto is talking about. And we'll talk to him more about that, his own journey, actually, of thinking, right, that's it. We need a change of life. Let's go do those things we want to do. I'm doing now. Unfortunately, there are fewer and fewer skilled masons, says Pete. Our builder had to wait 6 years for ours. and he was 68 with a 59-year-old assistant. We need to be encouraging more young Portuguese people to learn. Well, won't that happen with this renaissance and love of Portuguese traditional skills? Won't that naturally happen, that Portuguese youngsters will think, hold on a minute, the thing that my grandfather told me to get out of and head to the city, maybe there is a future in it after all?
I think without doubt, there are some young people living in Portugal, Portuguese people, who are now realizing that hand skills have a value.
Yes.
And building walls, building houses out of traditional stone has a value.
Like real things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Longevity.
Yes, absolutely.
Longevity.
What a gift to the community to be able to do that as well.
Yeah.
And to, imagine, I've been involved a little bit in construction in the past, and been with builders. He's driving around with them, saying, "Oh, I did that roof, and I built that wall over there." So what a lovely thing to do, to tangibly have contributed to your world in that way. Well done, Hugh. Is this another friend? William Andrew Brogan joins us this morning. Well done, Hugh, says William. And amen, Pete. Amen, says Joao Ernesto. I think Joao Ernesto getting really ready to join us in the conversation. See you in a couple of minutes. Joao Ernesto in the north of Portugal, in Ponte De Lima. K Star also here. Angie Sonata Jacobs. I think your K Star is tagging someone so that they join us this morning and see this beautiful place here, or hear about it. Videos to follow on the YouTube channel. I respect what France does to encourage and foster the skilled craftsman trades with the care and upkeep of their historic chateaus as well. Thank you, João Ernesto. See you in a couple of minutes. So anything else you can tell us about this area? Because we don't talk about Viseu enough as the Good Morning Portugal show. Our attention is led elsewhere, and we know there are many undiscovered gems in Portugal, including areas around here.
Yes, I mean, we're so well centrally situated here.
Yes.
You're just an hour to the Estrela Mountains.
Yes.
I mean, we've skied up on the top
Have
of
you?
Tor, and then come down in the afternoon, and you can go to Aveiro to the beach.
Yeah,
see the fish coming up through on the shore at Costa Nova, and Coimbra is only 40 minutes south.
That's a pretty good location, then, isn't it?
And then the Douro is 40 minutes north.
Yeah.
We're such a good central place to travel. This part of the northern Portugal, it's just gorgeous. Yeah.
How amazing! And who's this weirdo looking through the window? Oh, it's Colin.
Oh, yeah.
What's he doing?
Hello, Colin.
Yeah, is he? Funny man. Right. What's he doing?
I think he's saying that I should look straight ahead and not look at you so much.
He's giving more producer notes.
Producer
notes.
Yeah,
more producer notes. I met a female Italian. Wow, a young female Italian stonemason who is working in Portugal. She was fascinating. I'd buy that calendar of the female stonemason calendar. Wow. Yes, the Laura Croft of stonemasonry. Sounds amazing. Steady on the Good Morning Portugal show this morning. It's 9:30. Will you stick around and we'll bring João Ernesto? That's his Portuguese name. I don't have my round of applause with me because we are on tour, but let's give him a nice big, an organic round of applause for João Ernesto joining us from Ponte De Lima. Good morning, John. Bom dia, tudo bem? Oh, John, we need you to unmute. Yes. There we go. Colin will be in again in a minute. Telling you to unmute.
Bom dia, Carlitos. Como está?
Muito bem, obrigado. All the better for seeing you, John. How's it going there in Ponte De Lima this morning?
Muito bem.
Good.
It's pretty good. Been a little bit busy this April, past April, getting ready for my brother coming on Sunday.
Oh, you've got visitors. How wonderful. I definitely want to ask you about that, what you've organised for your brother who's visiting Portugal. But you've been nodding your head in the green room backstage there with a lot of what Hugh's been talking about. John, Hugh, you've both chosen more northerly parts of Portugal to settle in. One thing you seem to pick up on, João, was like, do it now, get on with it, come and live this dream. What more would you want to say about that?
Well, there's a lot to be said about it. Generally speaking, I'm much more of a deliberate person, a planner, that sort of thing. But moving here and buying the place that we did would be slightly contrary to that, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Because we did purchase. We came here on our scouting trip. With just the intentions of of doing that, scouting, and actually bought a place before we left. So
Wow.
that was back in 22.
What is that then? You know, this is what Hugh's been saying to us. You know, they hadn't been to Portugal, came to see this building and decided to buy it just like that. Didn't look at anywhere else. You described yourself as a deliberate and measured fella. However, on a scouting trip in Portugal, you just decided to buy. What was going on? What is it about Portugal that does that to people, do you think, John? I'll ask you as well, Hugh, in just a moment. But what happened to you, John, to maybe sort of have that little I don't know, change to your normal character and have you impulse buying like that?
Well, in a way, it wasn't impulse, if you think about it, because we did already intend to move here. We had already gone through the process of beginning the paperwork and, of course, booking the trip to do a scouting trip. So we had the intention of doing something. And we were doing a scouting trip, and we had Ponte De Lima on the last bit of it. So we did look at the Algarve, we did look at the Silver Coast, that sort of thing. But I think the point is if you are planning or thinking about acting, you need to recognize the moment, and when you see it, act. So. Brilliant. I think what people fail to do sometimes is they'd like to do something, or they're thinking of, but then when the opportunity is there, they hem and haw, and it's like, you need to think it through. What is it that you're looking for? And when you see it, go for it.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, too many people pass it by when the opportunities have presented themselves, and because they really haven't thought through it, they haven't really gotten to know what it is that they're actually wanting or desiring or dreaming of. But in our case, we did have a clear idea in mind of what it was that we were looking for, and when we saw it, we acted.
It sounds like a combination lock almost. That you've got the rational stuff in place, the checklist, and then when the rational and the intuitive line up, that's it. That's the time. What would you add to that, Hugh?
I think absolutely. But as soon as we entered this building, the emotion, it was straight into the heart. We knew literally within 48 hours this was the place.
Yes.
And we've never regretted a single moment on it.
Not even with some of those pictures you showed me.
No, we knew this was where we wanted to live. This is where we want to end our lives in Portugal, ultimately. Yeah. And we have no inclination to go back to the United Kingdom. And the environment here, everything else is just fantastic. Yeah, it really is fantastic.
Well, it looks like that moment when the rational and intuitive line up, as you were saying, John, you just need to know when to say yes and go for it, is the hoo-ah moment, which it sounds like you've had, Hugh, you've had that, John, as well. Pam's had it too. Sometimes when you see a place you just know, and the same thing with Michael Barton. Loving this morning. Same thing happened to Karen and I in the July of 2022. We found our dream home and jumped on it. You just knew as well, and took massive action, I think, as Tony Robbins says. Fantastic. Anything else you want to add to that, John? It's the lineup, isn't it? The lineup of things where it clicks into place and you say, okay, let's do this.
Well, it goes to some of the esoteric things that people talk about, such as manifesting in your mind what it is that you're looking for. But that's what it's about, because it's not just random impulse actions. It's because you've already thought clearly about what it is that you want to do, or what it is that you're wanting to happen. And when the circumstances and events conspire to present that to you, you need to be able to step out and do that. So in Hugh's case, he wasn't buying a already built, ready done thing that matched what he
certainly not.
He saw the bones of what he wanted. He saw the land. He saw the potential. Because he could see it in his mind of what this could be. And so he had spent a considerable amount of time thinking about what it is that he wanted, what they wanted to do. And when he saw the right place that showed him that this could offer that, he took advantage of it.
There he was. Fantastic. Thank you both for highlighting that. And I'm sure that's a help to people who are watching who want to realize their Portuguese dream as well. Pam adding, when me and Tony first viewed our apartment, we just looked at each other and knew it was perfect. 9 years on, we were right. Isn't that lovely? And when your vision and intention are clear, you'll recognize it when you see and feel it. Thank you, James, for that. Right, on more practical and prosaic matters then. Locally, I know recently, John, you were at a wonderful, it seems to be the season, equestrian. I know there's Jane's very much into horses, isn't she?
Yes,
And it seems to be the season here in Portugal. In Caldas de Rainha, we've had an equestrian fair in these last few days. John, you sent me some beautiful pictures of an equestrian fair up there in Ponte De Lima. How was that?
That was fantastic. It wasn't a hugely populated, attended event, but it was just elegant and majestic to see these creatures that are obviously so well cared for. And these Portuguese show horses just are magnificent. I mean, they are just gleaming, satin coats, and it's just amazing. So, it's almost like a well-polished car. You're just like a little bit afraid of touching it.
Yeah, and these are the Lusitano horses, I think, are many of them, aren't they? The great traditional Portuguese horse. Yeah, okay, well, that sounds like you had a lovely time there. Go on.
They have an event at Golga every year.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And the whole of this small village town is devoted to the horse.
Yeah.
And the central field is actually around where all the horses travel. I mean, the Golga Fair is just unbelievable. Have you been to
that's
that?
the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to Golga, John?
No, not the big horse show. No, I haven't.
We know that Philomena is very likely to organise a trip around that. So stay in touch with Philomena, and she'll get you where mere mortals are unable to get into a restaurant for lunch. She makes that happen for people.
When we go back to the States next time, I'll need to bring back my cowboy hat.
Do that. Definitely do that. Unlike James, it's not a cowboy hat. James, friend of Bernard's.
It's black.
Yeah. Oh, very nice, very nice. And yeah, maybe some nice spurs as well there, Joao Ernesto, and some chaps.
That photo I sent you of Samson, the horse the size of
yes, I do have that, and we'll put that on the screen in just a moment. And you have this is a fascinating phenomenon, I think, when friends and family visit. And again, I'll ask you, Hugh, because I'm sure you'll have something to add specifically with this location in mind. But John's got his brother arriving, I think you said, John. What have you got organized for the brother then? Give us some. If we were coming on that tour with you, where would we be going in and around Ponte De Lima?
Well, let me say, they're going to be here for 2 weeks, and for the initial 3 days, they will arrive and get settled, and we'll do miscellaneous things up here. Ponte De Lima is well known, actually, in Portugal, not only for its Roman bridge and its location, but also for its plethora of restaurants. So we will take them out to a number of places. But then I will be treating my brother and his wife. So it's Dan is my brother, and his wife is Anna, and for North Carolina. And she is or was she's a art teacher and art history. And she's always wanted to see the Prada in Madrid. And so we will. What's that?
I was just saying, oh, right. Wow. You're taking them to Spain as well?
Well, we'll take a journey. We'll drive to Spain. We'll spend a couple nights in Madrid visiting the Prada, and then the palace there at the lovely, what's it called? The Principal Hotel, highly recommended. Okay. After visiting there, we will then drive back into Portugal to Tomar, and we'll stay at the Hotel dos Templarios in. Oh
yes, overlooking the square there, fantastic.
And, hopefully, with a window facing the Templar Castello de Templar and the.
Yes, sorry, I've got my Tomar hotels mixed up. It's the Republica that overlooks the square. Templario is fabulous as well. That overlooks the river, the Nabal. So you'll have a great time there, and you will be able to see the convent up on the hill from one of your windows as well, I suspect too. How wonderful!
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I think I need to correct myself. It's not the Prada. I think it's the Prado Museum.
Prado, okay.
But,
all right. Well,
yes.
they have a great trip lined up ahead of them, thanks to you.
Yeah. So after that, we'll head toward San Martino de Porto for the storytellers. On the way, visit the aqueduct that's just west of Tomar. I think.
Oh yes, yeah, I know what you mean, on the outskirts of Tomar. That's amazing, isn't it? And you get it to yourself when you visit. There's no one else there, generally speaking.
There's no one there usually. It's just a little dirt parking lot, but it's a classic aqueduct that you can actually walk out on and all this. But so we'll stay at the Storytellers the 18th. Hopefully, maybe meet up with you.
Yeah, I will see you there.
Coffee or something. And then the next day, we have all day to get up to the Posada Jerez. So we're going to take our time going up. We'll probably stop at Nazaré. We'll definitely go to Guimarães and visit the Castello there. And the big not miss is the Palace Ducal, the Dukes of Braganza, the palace there. That's a must-see a palace or a museum tour if you've never been there. Go on a Sunday, and if you're a resident, it's free. So that's recommended. And the famous Posada Jerez now, because Ian, Coach Turner, stayed there, and some other friends of us have stayed there, and we've visited there. And interviewed and talked to the proprietor there, and he showed us all the rooms and toured us around. So we'll be there. And then the next day we drive up through the Jerez back to Ponte De Lima. But first we will stop at the lesser known Castello de Lindoso, which is a small castle on the Lima in the I forget the name of the little town, but it's a marvelous castle to walk around. Staying at the wonderful, brief stop at the wonderful Santos Cafe, which is a wonderful place to stop and have a coffee and a snack on our way back to Ponte De Lima to make Market Day on Monday the 20th. So Market Day in Ponte De Lima is every second Monday, and it is reputably the oldest and largest market in Portugal, at least in northern Portugal. So.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. What a lucky brother and sister in law they are, and how beautifully thoughtful of you, John. A wonderfully organised trip there with your usual attention to detail.
And there's more, but
I'm sure there is. How about that, Hugh? I'd do that trip. That sounds lovely, doesn't it? And the big horse you mentioned, this looks like AI, doesn't it?
Okay.
Just going back briefly to Samson, the biggest horse ever recorded in history. This is for real, is it?
Yeah.
It looks like a Trojan.
360 pounds, over a ton and a half.
Incredible.
It's the size of bigger than an elephant, or bigger than some elephants.
They might be small men, of course. They might have got small guys, especially small guys, just to make the picture bigger. But where are we looking, John? Is this in England or in the US?
I assume in England. It's a shire horse, so those aren't usually found in the US.
Okay. And you mentioned the coach who has been touring the Posadas of Portugal, and here he is at Casa Cuclin with Big Phil. So lovely picture there. Gumpers meeting Gumpers. We love to see this on the Good Morning Portugal show when the community are meeting up with each other. And there's Coach Turner, who we'll see later on today with Phil. So lots of love to you too. Thank you very much for sending us that picture. Ian, we'll see you a little bit later on today. Absolutely brilliant. Hugh, We've heard John's tour there, Ponte De Lima. What do you suggest to people? I mean, because you must get asked this question a lot when people come and stay here. What should we do locally? So, what do you recommend to people in Viseu?
So, because we're so centrally situated, literally the Estrella Mountains are a real must. The views from the top of the Estrella Mountains on a clear day, you feel like you're in space, or the edge of space. The clarity up there. And when we have our families come over at Christmas, it's a major point to go to. We do tobogganing with the kids. It's a fantastic facility that's right on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Obviously, Aveiro and Costa Nova, the beaches there, the fish there are just from watching these fish being hauled up the beaches. Used to be by oxen, now by tractor. Just an experience you have to go for, because it's fantastic. And then in Viseu, the city, I mean, there's some real history in that city. I mean, the cathedral is stunning. Absolute number one must locally on that. Yeah.
Okay.
And tremendous foods. I mean, you've got these super little restaurants. Wines
and a chance to try the Dow wines of this area is famous for as well, that we learned a lot about last night thanks to you. So the Dow DOC, this is that demarcation is this area. That belongs
right
to
in the middle.
Yep, right here. So you'll be able to get a cowboy hat if you go to Golgal, as Hugh was talking about earlier on. And going back to the earlier part of the conversation, luck lies at the intersection of preparation and opportunity. Also with luck, and I think this applies to you, Hugh. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think luck is one thing, but giving to others is just as important, because I feel if I give to people what we've been doing here, somebody might be looking down and will give back to us.
Yes, the karmic wheel, I suppose, in another expressed in another way. Yeah, fantastic. My cousin raised draft horses in Nebraska. Those guys must be kind of short as well. Erica was saying that if we bring Samson back onto the screen there. So Nebraskan shires as well, by the sound of it. Fantastic. If you've got any questions for Joao Do Norte, if you're planning a trip to the north of Portugal, Joao Do Norte's here for another 10 minutes or so. And Hugh's very kindly was here from 9 to 9:30, but has stayed. And I'm glad you did, Hugh, chatting with us about this part of the country as well, Viseu, that we don't hear so much about as well. Apparently, Samson, according to Squire of the Shires, I think he knows a thing or two about horses as well, was born in 1846 in the county of Bedfordshire, England. He weighed as you said, John, I think 3,360 pounds when he was just 4 years old, over 7 feet tall, or 21.25 hands. Amazing. That's something we haven't talked much about. Sorry, go on, John.
That's not to their head. That's just to the withers.
That's right. Yeah, it is.
Just to the
7 feet to where is the top of his back, essentially, or the top of his hips. So another 2 feet above that.
Incredible. Another thing we don't talk much about is horse riding here in Portugal. And I think Jane will have ridden here. Your wife, Jane, Hugh. Joao, were you tempted to get on a horse at the recent Ponte De Lima Equestrian Fair? Was that a possibility?
If they would have offered, sure. But I'm a big fella. Now those horses certainly could have done me no problem, but that would have been rather presumptuous of me to ask, so I didn't.
Need to jump on you. I've got the cowboy hat. Can I get on, please? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, have you ridden at all? I mean, presumably you did in the States. Have you ridden here in Portugal yet?
I haven't ridden here in Portugal, no, but I have ridden in the States quite a bit.
Okay. So Hugh, is that an opportunity?
It is, because I mean, we just have a lovely equestrian place not far from here, about 15 minutes, and they do a lot of dressage, beautiful indoor schools, lovely horses. In fact, we swap wine for the manure for
like you do
for doing our vegetable patch. So we pick up all the horse poo and we give them a few bottles of wine. And but the horse riding there is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's literally 10 minutes from us. As is the we've got the thermal springs at Saint-Jamil, where you've got hot water springs in the summer. Brilliant for chilling out in.
Yeah, and the other experience, which we can see from the window, is the Michelin star restaurant up on the hill on the other side of the valley from here. That's something that Joao Ernesto might want to pop on his list of things to do here in Portugal. Can you tell us about that? This is a Michelin star restaurant with a helipad, is it, on the other side of the valley here?
It does. It's Mesa de Lemos.
Mesa de Lemos. Tell us a little bit about that, if you will.
So we actually watched this being built, and it's an amazing restaurant view, but it's a total dining experience when you actually sit on the table to start with.
Tell us about the food then.
There's nothing there.
An empty table.
There's no knife, no fork. And then things are brought to you. It's a complete
Listen to him banging his way into the studio here. What's he doing?
Yeah. I'm not talking to the screen.
All right, thanks, Colin.
Yeah. So it's a real dining experience. You've got 7 courses. You the degustation menu.
Right.
Diego is the executive chef there. He has a tremendous reputation, not only locally but throughout Portugal.
Yes.
And next door to it is the Adega, which fantastic wine. Quinta de Lemos.
Lemos is the word, is the key word to be searching there. What stands out in your mind from your experience of the restaurant there? What did you eat?
Their fish is just unbelievable because their fish is brought on a daily basis up from Aveiro.
Okay.
And
you see, they say Central Portugal doesn't do fish. This is the exception, is it?
Absolutely. Fish is a big dominance on their menu.
Okay.
And it's a display. It's an absolute display. Yeah. Fantastic.
Okay. I think Joao Ernesto is writing that down as we speak. How to get invited to ride in Portugal. I love riding. I used to ride a lot back in the US. I really miss it. There you go. There's a little tip from James there. And Pam, there are a lot of places offering horse riding around here too. This is on the Silver Coast near Alcobaça, but those cavalheiros at the equestrian events are quite protective of their horses, as you might imagine as well. Another thing about this area, and I think there is a connection, is there not, with Lemos and the fabrics that are made. This is why the Englishmen came over in the 19th century to create fabrics and take them back to England. They went along the river, they went to the ports, they sailed it back to England. What an incredible time to be alive in the Industrial Revolution then. But still, in these times, some of the most celebrated fabric is made in Viseu as well. Is that right?
That's right. Abbas and Haberdacol, they've been going for, I think, about 45 years, 50 years, and started in the markets. And Celso's Lemos's dream was to develop the very best sheets, pillowcases, and beautiful
bed linen, basically.
Bed linen, but also in all the bathroom cloaks and gowns and.
Oh, really?
And they're stunning. Yeah, I mean the quality is unbelievable.
Who knew? You see, we find these things out, don't we, John? About Portugal. Portugal's so modest in its output. Wine being a great example of that. But then we find out about linens as well that are still being made in this country. Quite extraordinary. Right, we've got about 5 minutes to go here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Colin and I are getting out on a road trip. It seems like a good time to maybe revisit this theme. Sorry, John, go ahead.
I'm jealous.
What of the road? Come join us. Jump in your motor and come and join us in your modern mini clubman. Come see us. We're going to be joined.
It's a countryman.
Countryman, I beg your pardon. You're right. You're very welcome to join us if you so fancy. And anyone else in the other Gumpers who want to join us, come and see us in the Serra da Estrela mountain range and drive on the 232, I think it's called, that Colin's planned for us today. Have you got a link for the bed linen companies? Pam is asking. How do we find that, Hugh?
We'll find it.
We'll get that to you.
Yeah,
we'll get that to you. Site, we'll feature that probably in a future episode. Maybe talk to somebody from the company would be pretty awesome, because I didn't know anything about that. World famous bed linens from Portugal.
They have an outlet the first Sunday of every month in Viseu, so you can actually go and.
Mere mortals can buy the outlet stuff as well. It gets even better. Fantastic. Okay, I'd love to return, because you two gents are a great inspiration, I think, to others looking at Portugal. You've made new lives here. We talked about the magic of the moment of saying, this is it. Let's do it. Let's buy this house. Let's be here in Portugal. Can we conclude on that one more time, really, in terms of speaking to people who are pondering, the Portugal ponderers, the Portugal curious at the moment. I want to talk a little bit more about that magical moment and how to identify it. And it's not, that's the other thing, isn't it? You know, a lot of people have this excuse sometimes, don't they? Well, it's all right for Hugh, you know, 20 years ago he did it. Joao, 2 or 3 years ago, they were there at the beginning of the curve or before the boom. It's not about time. It's not about a time in history. That's still possible here in Portugal, isn't it? Let's start with you, Hugh, on that note. This dream is still alive and doable here.
Absolutely. I mean, it is good value for money here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still get a bag of cement at good value.
There you go, the cement bag index.
Well,
Yes.
it's a commodity. It's a commodity,
Yes.
and it's but here is, you've got good value materials. You can use natural materials. You can there are plenty of traditional materials still available.
Yeah.
So you can go on and build what you want from ruins, from recover the lands.
Yes.
Unfortunately, some of the Portuguese people don't look through to see where it can ultimately be.
Okay.
They don't see the perception
In that same visionary sense that you're obviously
many
gifted
of
with.
them don't see this. I mean, they couldn't believe how we developed this house.
But they grew up with it, didn't they? I guess, for you were T-boned. Your perception
Absolutely.
was T-boned by this
Absolutely.
possibility here.
Yeah,
and they've grown up. This is their normal. This is the water they swim in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Incredible. So still doable and still visitable and enjoyable here if you come and stay with Hugh and Jane here at Quinta dos Três Rios, near Viseu, near the town of Tondela. Workaways, come and enjoy the luxury experience of being here, and maybe even make an offer while you're here, and pick up and run with this incredible baton that Hugh and Jane have created. That you have created the most incredible place here. Thank you for inviting us here. Thank you for letting us be here, Hugh. It's been an absolute delight, and I hope other Gumpers will make a booking and come and see you here. So thank you very much indeed. Muito obrigado. João Ernesto, on that note, vision and magic and the Portuguese possibility, what do you have to say about that as somebody who's been there, done that, and is having the T-shirt printed?
Well, I will say that normally speaking, I'm an advocate of this area along the Lima and the Minho region and Ponte De Lima.
Yes.
But do you remember introducing a woman named Lucia Sherman?
Yes. Yeah.
So she and her husband Scott, who are from Los Angeles, California, they came up to this area, rented a place to explore around. But in their explorations, they also explored elsewhere in Portugal, which they came to Viseu and they fell in love with it. And so it has the mountains like it does up here, and the greenery and those kinds of things. So that appealed to their eye. And there's something about, I haven't been actually to Viseu, but they really liked the little town there and the vicinity. And so once again, it's knowing what you're looking for and the feel and the vibe of it. And so they're thinking about coming down to Viseu for where they'd like to settle. So
I've got a very good tip of where they might like to stay.
Yes, so we might.
Come on. Lucia will love it here.
Yeah.
She would absolutely love it here.
I want to say this, and I think maybe Hugh alluded to this as well, but I just want to emphasize it or give some emphasis on this point, which is that places that have a reputation of being more remote, like the north of Portugal or the central place, places like Viseu, and people see that as being intimidating and being far away from places. But as he said, you're only half an hour, 40 minutes from Coimbra, from Douro, from Aveiro. Up here in Ponte De Lima, we're only half an hour from Braga, from 40 minutes, 50 minutes to Porto. So, I mean, it's very hard to be somewhere in Portugal, even in the countryside, where you're, hours and hours away from anything.
Right.
It's if you want to go to a movie, and Hugh could just jump and take a ride to Coimbra, or something, or go to the mall or something.
Hugh's even nearer.
You have to live in the big city in order to take advantage of what a big city can offer.
Well said, John. That distinction here is very different to the distance between the towns and the countryside in the United States, for example, or Canada. As you said, Hugh, you can be in Viseu in 15.
Yeah, I mean the road networks here are stunning.
They are, aren't they? And you get them to yourself a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Porto's only an hour and 15 away. It's just that quick.
How about that?
Yeah.
What a lovely little secret we've sort of unearthed or represented to everybody. Viseu, how delightful to be in this part of the country, and very noble of you, Joao, as well, to on this occasion to defer somewhat to the magic and majesty of Viseu. as a great advocate of Ponte De Lima, of course. So great to talk to you both, gentlemen. An absolutely delight. Well, great start to this Tuesday where we go off on a road trip with Colin. So Joao, Ernesto, thank you very much. Love to Pam, love to Ponte De Lima. And Hugh, thanks again so much for your hospitality, you and Jane here. And we look forward to talking to you again in some way. Indeed. And maybe even talking to the new owners of Minola and this lovely site, Quinta dos Três Rios, in the future. Thanks, gentlemen. We'll go and have a cup of coffee. And here's the jingle to prove it. Have a great day, John. Have a great day, all you Gumpers, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you all for being here on this special outside broadcast live from the Viseu area of Portugal. Take care and bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.